You know the day destroys the night, night divides the day. Try to run, try to hide, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side, break on through to the other side.
God bless America. Welcome to The Ranch, everybody, the podcast that explores the people and happenings of Dry Creek Ranch, Eagle, and the greater Boise area. Quick shout out to my girl, Christina Mitchell. Since moving to Idaho, I've actually done 5 real estate deals, and Christina Mitchell has helped me with all of them. In each case, she was actually able to save me lots of money. I've been in real estate for a very long time, but Chris came in with some really great ideas and some compromises and some other ideas that, again, saved me tens of thousands of dollars in almost every single deal. I love this realtor. She's a dear friend of mine. She's a savvy businesswoman. If you're looking for somebody who really knows what they're doing, check her out. My guest today, and I talked about the periodic evaluation of Dry Creek Ranch put on by the county. Now, this was an evaluation survey that went out to everybody that asked them, look, are you happy with the community? Do you feel like these amenities are being put together? It asked a myriad of questions and then also gave some areas for free responses, which I thought were humorous. But we went through every single question and in some cases compared how people feel now versus how they felt about 2 years ago when the original survey was put out. So again, we went through the entire response. I think it was very, very valuable. My guest tonight is a native Idahoan who actually went to Eagle High School, grew up around here, went to Cal Poly, and then came back, loves it here, just like I do. So again, not all of the responses were positive, but we both really enjoy this community. That doesn't mean it's perfect. So without further ado, the man, the myth, the legend, my boy Ross Miller.
So I need to do some talking.
We got to do some talking, baby.
Right.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, thank you.
God, I got to tell you, when I saw you, my wife had already told me that the county survey had come out, and I literally didn't read. I didn't read all the data. Right. So that's what we're going to go over today. We'll hit the data. We'll hit the public comment. I just read a couple of the public comments at the end and I was like, oh, I'll come back to this. And then when you posted it on the Facebook group, I was dying. I was like, God bless you, Ross, like right there. And to be clear, we both live in Dry Creek and I'm very happy with it here. I love it here. I think it's a great community. I mean, you've said the same thing to me before as well.
We moved from other side of Boise to here. We love it. It's location, as some of the survey results say. It's been amazing.
Right. And again, you grew up in Idaho.
Yep.
Right. So I think it's really cool. Some people talk a lot about Dry Creek Ranch as being just a California thing, or they talk for native Idahoans and say, well, the native Idahoans feel this way or don't feel this way. You are a native Idahoan. Yeah. I am a California transplant. So our opinions combined pretty much cover like 90% of the bases.
95 or something. Yeah.
Not that I represent all Californians. That was a joke, people. Anyway. So here we go.
I grew up 5 minutes away, Eagle High School and everything. Just stayed local, and I feel like between you and I, we represent both California, Idaho, and I think like 5% Washington probably.
Right, and then like 3 people from Oregon. Yeah, go Oregon. You went to Cal Poly though, right?
Yep.
Okay, so
Cal Poly slow.
Once you went to Cal Poly, why did you come back? Because you had a taste of both, and this was before Cal Poly was cray-cray. Like you went for actual science.
So yeah, from here went to Cal Poly for engineering. Loved SLO. It was only 40,000 people, like California without the traffic, great weather, beaches and everything. But I really missed access to the mountains. When I was in California, I went to Yosemite a couple times, did a couple camping trips, but like just the access to central Idaho, McCall, Stanley, all that area, I really missed it. So I came back for what I thought would be like a couple months before I ended up getting a job in the Bay Area. Ended up finding a job here that was with a California company. And I had my ended up being 8 months of unemployed, just going crazy in the outdoors, and found a job here, and it was fantastic. So that's also one of the best perks for me living this side of town in Dry Creek is access to Highway 55 going up north and getting into the mountains real fast.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, I really enjoy it. And we actually started messing around the river. I know you're a big river guy. We started messing around the river down at Reed Merrill, just parking and going right in. We were fishing down there, and then I think everybody floats, right? Like people generally understand. You come, you got to do the float, and you got to enjoy it, and it's great. It's everything you could hope it would be. But the day-to-day access is what really blows me away. Where it's like, no, I'm there in 10 minutes, and I'm only going to hang out for half an hour. It's not this 4-hour extravaganza. It's like I'm just popping down to the park. We walk down to the river. We splash around. We build some rock things, and then we come back.
I've worked with some people from California that come up on work trips, and they go fishing every single day at lunch and go catch 11 fish, and like being able to just go fish on the river for an hour, catch 11 fish, come back, and then do your grind the next 5 or 6 hours. That's like you don't get that option very many places.
Where are they going fishing? Because I'm not.
He, I think, was a good fisherman, but he said just the Eagle Road Bridge, like right there by the hotel.
What?
And he'd catch 11 fish.
What?
Yeah.
Okay, I am obviously a terrible fisherman.
I think he's a good fisherman.
Yeah, right. He knows what he's. I'm sure I piss all of those people off. We went there. We went down to Big Five. It was 5th of July, right? So we're hanging out 4th of July, and I was telling my wife, 3 boys at home. I'm like, they're not going to come up with fun things to do. It's totally on us, obviously, right? Mm-hmm. This is not a surprise to anyone. So I tell her, I'm like, listen, I told the boys tomorrow I'm taking them fishing. It's like, what do you mean like, do you fish? I'm like, I'm gonna.
We're gonna figure it out.
I remember fishing. I was like 10 for Boy Scouts, and I caught a fish, and that was like the last time I went. Anyway, so we sure enough go to Big Five, and I'm watching a YouTube. My wife is driving, but I'm watching a YouTube video on the way on like how to tie a knot, how to like do a pole. I'm like, what do you do with the thing with the and this was so bad. So I go to Big Five, and they have the poles, right, and then they have the reels, and reels. Some of them don't have the reel and the pole combo sold together. And I was like, I don't even know how to attach one to the other. It's like, so for the first 3 weeks we were fishing, they still had the zip ties on the reels, and then I realized you could unscrew the thing and
tightens in.
Yeah. But like the kids don't know. Like they don't know their dad's an idiot. Thank God. And then we go to redfish. Not yet. Right. Well, this is the problem. They're going to think I'm an idiot before they know what I'm an idiot about. They'll just think I'm an idiot because I'm an idiot. Right. And it's like, no, I'm actually not wrong in the thing I'm talking about. And then like by the time I'm 70, they're like, Dad, it's the remote. The remote controls everything. I'm like, I don't know. But then we went to redfish and caught a bunch on the dock.
Did you? Oh, huh.
Yeah.
I love redfish. Yeah.
Best ever. Did you go as a kid?
Yeah. I'm lucky. My stepdad has a cabin about a quarter mile away. So I've been growing up and going to redfish for my whole life.
Dude, that's wild.
Yeah. There's not, talking about property in Idaho, there's not a lot of property around Stanley area. And so I feel pretty lucky I got into that.
Yeah, man. We were driving through, and I was thinking, gosh, like I absolutely got to go back and like check out realtors, see if there's anything here.
There's
like maybe convince Grandpa to buy something, but nope, it was like nothing.
Oh man, yeah, getting off topic, but 2014, I did not have 125 extra, but this hilltop lot overlooking the city, overlooking the whole mountains went for sale, and I didn't have 125, so I didn't buy it. It sold for $800, I think, in 2020, and now it's listed just a couple weeks ago for 1.6.
I mean, you screwed up, Ross.
Yeah, I didn't know, but I could have come up with 125 if I knew.
I mean, you should have done anything.
Yeah.
But I feel like anyone in Idaho that knew in 2012, 2014, like anything, you could have just murdered.
Yep.
Yeah. Do you get concerned about the pricing here? Predominantly, I think the nice thing about Idaho is you have such a variance, right? So, like, you have houses in Eagle that are $300,000 and $400,000. You know, 1,500 square feet, 3.2, something like that. Totally
starter. Yep.
Yeah, great starter, right? And they go to the beautiful thing is you're not starting in a bad school district. You're still going to go to the same schools my kids go to. Your kids are going to go to.
And still safe and still short commute and all of that.
Right. So, like in California, you get a starter, you got to be like in the boons. But I get kind of concerned about the pricing around here just getting worse and worse and worse.
I think it's urban sprawl, I guess. So I lived, property prices 1990 versus now are obviously going to take a jump, but from the edge of Eagle, like Eagle used to be the boons and 20 minutes to downtown, but you could get like a lot of property on the edge of Eagle for not much. Now I think that edge of property is pushing out, like even Middleton is not quite the boonies anymore. So you got to go a little bit further, but there's still options. Mountain Home, I'll speak working around the Micron area. Mountain Home's 30 minutes away from Micron, and that still is very affordable. So I think sprawl is just going to happen, different directions, and there's options. But I think the primo, like foothills and river access type of properties, those are definitely going to keep
going up.
Yeah, those are going to be can't think of the word.
Desirable.
Primo. Yeah.
Primal. Primal.
Primal?
Gosh,
No, not primal.
Let me get one of my stupid gluten-free beers here. Okay, so look. Let's do this. I can't wait.
All right.
Let's now, to be clear, you have read through all this data.
So I read through this data. I also, the first time so maybe quick like backstory, I guess, is Ada County has 4 master planned communities. Dry Creek Ranch is one of those. For all of those, they do a periodic review of the progress and the development, and they get some resident survey. So the first one for Dry Creek happened in 2020. I had just moved in, and so I kind of remember that. I was looking at the data. There's only 42 people that replied for that one. It's supposed to happen every 2 years. I don't know what happened, but now it's 2023. They sent out this survey again, and again, Ada County staff is basically putting together a summary of the Dry Creek residents survey and what they think of the property. And then they're going to talk to BHH, see what development progress they think. All of that goes before the Planning and Zoning and then the Ada County Board of Commissioners here in the next couple months. It's kind of like a periodic report.
What qualifies, and you may not know this, but what qualifies Dry Creek Ranch as a master plan community?
Good question.
Because there are like micro developments, right, where you have a smaller developer that's doing like 10 or 20 houses, and that's not like I could see that you wouldn't describe something like that as a master plan community.
Like a neighborhood does not probably count, but yeah, so it's probably scale. I know Avamore's one, Dry Creek Ranch is one.
It probably has to do with schools, its
School,
own utility
roads.
Systems.
Yeah,
we're kind of answering our own. Okay, so I would assume that it means you have some manner of education system lined up. You probably are developing your own utility systems.
Yeah, major
not
road infrastructure I think has to change. Fire station maybe, I don't know.
Yeah, we're not getting a fire station though, are we?
I think so. Eventually.
We are? Well, they said we were getting a lot of things, but
someday. Yeah, that's one of those. I think like some other things. Boise Hunter has the lot designated, and it's given to Ada County Fire or Eagle Fire or somebody, and they'll put it in whenever they need or when they decide to. But I think the lot is designated.
Right, because they obviously the fire department will not be funded by this community, right? So the county is going to have to decide, like, okay, we don't want to invest the money or keep, the service contracts and stuff to actually keep that running because we have sufficient coverage already. So
based on number of homes and all of that.
Gotcha. Yep. Okay, so we're going to start with this. Did they ask the same questions in 2020 as 2023?
Close. Yeah, pretty close.
Okay, so all right, I'm just very excited. I'm kind of blown away by this.
So,
all right. And again, I haven't seen any of this. I read like 2 of the public comments at the end, which I thought that some of them got kind of spicy and like, okay, fine. So this is, what's happening here. And to be clear, no matter what these responses come back at, I'm still very happy here. Yeah. It doesn't mean I'm not, things couldn't be better, but
there's always some things. That's one of the questions is what things would you change to make it a little bit better? So, real quick, overview, there was 17 questions. Question 1 is just, do you rent or own? In this case, I put it together. 139 people said they own, 3 people said they rent.
Great.
Which doesn't really affect whether it's master planned community or not. How long have you lived here? Majority were 1 to 3 years. Some people were over 3 years, 27%, and 9% were less than a year.
Okay, so most people have been here between 12 and 48 months.
Yep.
The vast majority, like 91% of the respondents.
63% between 1 and 3 years. Greater than 3 is another 30. So 90% have been here for over a year, essentially.
Great.
Yeah. Question 3. Dry Creek Ranch is a master-planned farm-to-table community where residents can honor Idaho heritage through agriculture and recreation opportunities. So this gets into the next 12 questions. They're all kind of multiple choice, strongly agree, disagree, strongly agree, or I don't know.
Can we disagree with the description right out of the blocks?
Yeah. I mean, that's a complicated... I think that's one of those issues.
I love Farmer Dan. I love going down to his farm and seeing him at the market. I wouldn't when I think farm to table, I think a little different than just the CSA.
Farmer.
And again,
Yep.
I love Farmer Dan. Like, he's great. I don't know, maybe that qualifies. Who knows?
And I mean, like, what does a master plan community that honors Idaho heritage? What is that? I'm a fourth generation Idahoan, and I don't think I could answer what that
is. That like we still have the barn?
We do have a barn.
We do have a barn.
Yeah. I actually don't know where these questions come from.
What about Idaho recreation?
Yeah.
Is that like the trail along the river, or excuse me, along the creek? Is that what they're talking about?
I mean, I think from the respondents, that is, does the trail along the creek qualify, or is that enough to justify saying that it's a community where blah 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 recreation opportunities? Is the trail along the creek recreation opportunities? Is that enough?
God, I don't know. Let's find out what the people think. Forget what you and I think. Okay,
yeah.
So here we go.
So I feel like this is one of those, you could take any piece of that paragraph and agree or disagree with it, but 7 people, 5%, strongly agreed with that statement. 67 people, which is another 47%, agreed with it. So in total, 52% of people agree with the statement.
Agree or strongly agree.
Agree or strongly agree, yep. Right. Which leaves 44% actually that disagree or strongly disagree, and 4% of people didn't reply. So we're like half and half, I guess. A little bit better than half as far as people agreeing with that large blanket statement of master planned farm to table Idaho heritage through agriculture and recreation. Yeah,
look, I mean, I guess it just really depends on what the definitions of these are. I can't say it's not farm to table. I participate in the CSA. I highly recommend people do it.
I love it.
I really enjoy it. Man, those tomatoes recently, by the way, have been fire.
Farmer Dan's great. And
yeah.
The peppers that we had last week, those are great too. My tomatillo salsa was killer.
Well, thanks for sharing. Yeah. Thanks for sharing, Ross. You're such
I verbally shared it with you.
Thank you. I appreciate you. Okay, so you have that, and then you do go around. I do when people come visit. We usually bike around the neighborhood eventually, and I'm like, oh, that's an old farm house. I don't know. It's an old barn.
They're gonna do with it.
Yeah, there's a barn, and the piece that I really do enjoy is the rock building with half of the wall falling out. Because that, to me, that's like that house.
That is agriculture, I think. That was the old...
That was like you built the building out of rock and put a wood roof on it. And it's like, we're going to suffer through life here. I think that was
the cellar or something, I'm guessing.
Dude, that's awesome.
You just store your potatoes and stuff down there.
Right, and you have to keep rodents out, so you got to make sure it's really buttoned down. It's a good time. Okay, great. So next one. So they got roughly 50-50 on that one. Okay.
Next one, question 4. Dry Creek's land use policies, restrictions, conditions, and fees do not violate private property rights, adversely impact property values, or create unnecessary technical limitations on the use of property.
All right, now this is an interesting one. Before you tell me the answer to this, I've never lived in an HOA. I lived in Oakland and Berkeley, and then a little town called Danville. Very similar to Eagle, back in California. None of those places that I lived had HOAs. So moving up here, the idea that, I can't have a basketball hoop in my front yard, or any of the things that I think everybody has come to understand. They're it's really restricted.
You want to build a pergola in your backyard, you have to get approval.
Right. And I have not known, I know a couple of the people on the approval board, and I asked them, like, hey, how frequently do you guys deny stuff? And they're like, no, it's almost never. And to support that, I don't know anyone who's been denied. And I know people who've done large exterior additions and things like that. So although there is a process that you have to go through, I don't know that I would describe it as cumbersome or burdensome with what you want to do to your property.
Yeah. I think violating private property rights, like you are in a HOA, so there are rules. So some people might take the letter of the law there that you can't do with what you want with your own property. But at the same time, the purpose is to prevent changes from adversely impacting the property values for the neighbors. So
right.
They're weighing that.
And again, it's hard to argue with a set of HOA rules when you moved in knowing there was a set of HOA rules.
Yep.
Right. What was the next one? The fees. The fees cause limitation. So did we ever find out
restrictions, conditions, and fees? Yep.
Did we ever find out why the HOA fee doubled?
No.
Did we,
well, the late fee, you mean?
Well, it wasn't just the late fee, but there was a when you purchase, it used to be $500 with essentially like initiation and the fee. This was a big thing at the last HOA meeting last year. I think it was like almost a year ago exactly.
Yeah.
I remember Shauna Irwin asked specifically about it. She's like, "How has this gone from $500 to like $1,000?" And nobody really had an answer for her. They were like, "Well, you know."
I don't know. I'm the wrong guy, I guess.
What about the water? Because water has also gone up.
Yeah.
Like as a not necessarily as a dollar wise, it's gone up like $10 or $20, but it worked out to be like a 50% increase or something.
Since I moved in 2020, I think it went up $50. And then just recently, Boise Dev, I saw did an article about I forget, it's water and sewer, and one of those is a public utilities, and one of those is not. So now it's a regulated public utility, and Dry Creek or Boise Hunter or whoever, the water company, can't increase prices without going through an approval process by the county.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
I don't know that
Land
I would
use
say
policies,
those fees are really violations, but it is clear that the utility systems here, there's been some weird stuff going on. And I think you're right. I think it is the water that is a public utility, but the sewer I don't think is considered a public utility. That'll probably go up.
So
so what did
drum roll? So let's see. So 10% of people said they strongly agree with that. That is basically a positive thing. That
and again, the statement was that the fees, the restrictions,
policies, they do all these things without creating unnecessary technical limitations.
Okay, great. So 10% of people are like, yeah, look, these aren't causing a problem in my life. Yeah. It's not violating my private property rights. Yeah.
38% still agreed. Just, normal agree.
Gotcha.
So 48% total are positive on the statement. 25% disagree and 14% strongly disagree. So 39% generally disagree and 13% didn't know. Which, I mean, that's kind of if you're new to the neighborhood, I don't blame you if you didn't really answer that one. Sure. That's kind of complicated.
Sure. So bottom line is, of the respondents, over half of them said it's fine.
Yeah, it's fine.
Okay.
Yep.
Okay, great. Next one.
Question 5. Primary public education opportunities are provided within Dry Creek Ranch.
I feel like.
So I think we know the answer to that. So I don't know how actually some people... Well, I guess, if you live in Dry Creek Ranch, you can go to Seven Oaks and Eagle Middle School, Eagle High School. So there are public education opportunities.
Within?
Are they within Dry Creek Ranch?
Probably. There is the bus system, right?
Yeah.
So you can get a bus in Dry Creek Ranch that will transport you to the education system, but
it's not within, which is
naturally it's not.
Which is part of the plan. So 20% of people agreed or strongly agreed. I probably don't agree with that, but then 28% disagree, 29% strongly disagree, 23% of people didn't know. So 57% of people though disagree or strongly disagree.
Yeah, I'm gonna absolutely go ahead and say disagree.
If it's public education within Dry Creek Ranch, then I know it's on the plan at this point.
Right.
Maybe it's not. Boise Hunter has the land. They're looking for the...
it's a big train, right?
Yeah, the charter school company to take over, and who wants to take it. So.
Yeah, and the biggest issue is a lot of the charter school numbers were drawn up when interest rates were like 3.5%. So it's a bit of a...
So you got to build a building with interest rates.
Yeah, and you have to... I mean, I don't want to speak out of turn. I know a lot of people that were working on it, and they were working really hard, and these are good people that were really trying and still are really trying to make something happen because they have young kids and they want good education opportunity. But it's just so complex, and they're all volunteering their time, and they're they're killing themselves.
And the land was designated for West Ada School District, but I think the comment originally was that West Ada was going to take 10 years or something before they deemed the population of Dry Creek necessary to build a elementary school there. So. Right.
There were a lot of problems with it. One of those being that it was going to take 10 years. It's my understanding, though, that the school was also intended, it should have been done prior to moving on to different phases of development, like it was one of the stepping stones that you were supposed to hit. I'm not 100% sure on that, but that was my understanding that there was a piece of that.
Development by Boise Hunter or by
exactly.
West Idaho?
So there was supposed to be something getting developed before they went on to an additional phase. And again, don't quote me on that because I don't know all of the nuances of it. But I mean, the bottom line is if they can get a school in there, I think it would be awesome. And I live right near there. Yeah. I have no problem with it. I think it would be awesome to have a field and basketball hoops and tetherball and everything.
Yeah,
and
playground.
Yeah. My aunt actually visited. She's like, "What, you want to hear the school bell?" I'm like, I have kids. Yeah. Like, I don't care. Like, I would love to hear kids squealing and having a good time and playing around. Like, it's wonderful. Like, I don't go to the elementary school and get annoyed when I'm picking up. I'm like, this is so fun. Like, look at all these happy kids. Yeah. So I don't know how anybody agreed with that one, but whatever. Yep. No big deal.
Moving on. Question 6. Live, work, and play opportunities for Dry Creek Ranch residents are provided. Live, work, and play. So, okay. Breaking that down. So live is pretty easy.
For sure.
Got that one. Work. I guess if you work from home, I don't know if that's supposed to intend that there's some sort of commercial space or something.
Like a coffee shop.
Yeah. Is that what the work piece is supposed to be?
I don't know, but in BHH's defense, I think you can go work at the clubhouse.
Okay. Well, yep.
Okay.
It is open.
Yeah. Okay. They're from like 10 to 6 or something without a reservation, just your key fob.
That's true.
Yeah. Okay. So live, work, and play.
So, I mean, this is open to interpretation, but 5% strongly agree, 29% agree, 34% disagree, 23% strongly disagree, and 9% don't know.
Wow.
So 57% of people generally disagree on this statement. Which again, I think it's got to be the work and play, I guess.
Aside from the living?
Yeah, we do live here, so but yeah,
I mean it is
what is about play that
and like the work seems kind of a wash. Like there's not really work opportunity in Dry Creek, and you also don't have a robust enough common facility. You don't have a system to allow people to like work in public.
Yeah.
Right. You do have the clubhouse, but I mean, how many chairs are there?
Yeah. I think it's got to be if there was a coffee shop, a brewery, a grocery store, a yoga studio, whatever.
Right. A gym, things of that nature.
That you would work
in
the community.
Right. And then, of course, the play. Yeah, we got the pool with the, oh, my God, have you heard? So people started going off about the shades. They're like, they look like thongs.
Yeah, I saw that.
I was dying. I was like, of course somebody came up with that. I actually like the blue. Because it looks like the sky. And mind you, I have zero taste. So whatever.
I'm just happy it's done. I don't want to talk about it anymore. It took 2 years or something to get shade at the pool, so...
Yeah.
Thank goodness it got taken care of.
I'm still waiting for that pool cover you asked about.
Yeah. When was that? That was 21?
That was, February 21. Yeah. And then you posted on the Facebook group again recently. Yeah. Like, not even recently, like 5 months ago.
Yeah. When was this going to happen?
Yeah. God, man. Oh, whatever.
It's on order. Don't worry, people.
Okay, great. It's one of the supply chain issues. Yeah. Or whatever. All right. So live, work, or play. 57% disagree or strongly disagree. And then you have, what was it, 34%?
34%.
Agree.
Generally agree.
Yeah. Generally agree. Okay. So the disagree win that one.
Yeah.
Okay. Next one.
Next one. Question 7. Dry Creek Ranch provides a mix of housing types and densities to provide for a strong and diverse community. So I do think it's interesting when I think about that question because mix of housing types, I mean, the price range, if you look at the sign out on the highway, was it $800 to $3 million?
$800 to $3 million. No CID tax. I don't know what that is, but they don't have it.
No. I don't know if I would call that diverse compared to the Treasure Valley because we don't have any of those 300s, 400s, 500s, 600s, or 700s. So it's probably all luxury or nice. But, there are different housing types, different lot sizes. We got, I think, 1/8 of an acre up to almost 2 acres
right
here. So,
yeah, and I think again, it's up for interpretation. But when it says housing types and density, It's like, listen, who wants a 12-story apartment complex?
I do
right?
actually. On the master plan, there are apartments that are supposed to go over in the hills, kind of by the sewage treatment plant over there. That's right where the apartments get to go.
Wonderful view.
Yeah.
But I think for what this neighborhood is, I think the density fits it very well.
Yeah.
Right? Like the smaller lots, like I happen to live on a smaller lot. I don't have a problem with it at all. Yeah. And like I stare over at the acre lots like longingly. I
think a lot of those smaller lots, again, 1/8 acre is fine, but they also have a lot of open space behind them. So like all of the creekside lots are generally smaller, but they got, big views. You're up against the school area, so you got big view.
Yeah. Yeah. The views are phenomenal. I mean, it just, it's fantastic. I love that. So honestly, I think the density going from almost 2 acres all the way down to 1/8 of an acre or 1/4 acre or something like that, I think that's fine. I think that's in keeping with what I would have expected in this area. And diversity in housing, I mean, obviously, as you go from like phase 1 to phase 7, you see the houses kind of evolve.
Yeah. And different builders. I know they, especially phase 1 to 3 or 4, they had a lot of different builders involved, like 7 or 8 different building companies. So houses look different floor plans and everything.
Right. So I think, the variety is good enough. Somebody was selling, I think it was Keller the other day. He's like, in this neighborhood, you pretty much have the Houston and then not the Houston. It's like, I guess that's fair. Like, I have no idea what my model's called. I'm one of the not Houstons. That's what I know.
Not Houston. 50,
but I like those. Like the Houston, I think is a great model. Like obviously.
Everybody chose it. It must be great.
Right. It's super popular. So I think you have enough variety, to be honest. And what I actually do like is that you have like the 5-bedroom Houston. Okay. But you also go down to, like the 3-bedroom spot. I think we're in a 3-bedroom right now. Mm-hmm. That's where the studio is. And I actually really like that because it gives, like my dad, for instance, Justin, shout out Mike Todd. He just moved into the neighborhood. Okay. Cool. From Anchorage. It's super cool. He was on the podcast right before we went to Ukraine on a medical thing. So he just moved into the neighborhood, which I think is awesome. Like you have nice, well-appointed, smaller spots that offer room for an older couple that, one room is guest room and then one room's an office. And it's very cool right next to the, larger kid-oriented things. And as long as the people moving into those are fine, because we have some cranky people around here. But in general, I think people get it.
That just reminds me of, I think when we've moved in phase 3, looking around, it's like, I think this was supposed to be a retirement community with all these RV garages and everyone's going to have their motorhomes, which makes me think of retirement. Right. But RV garages are awesome for toys, which I think the neighborhood quickly figured out. And and now they're all over the place.
I know you modified your house, but didn't you start out with like 5 garage bays or something?
Yeah, 4 plus a shop that was on. So 3 and an RV and a shop. Yeah.
You literally have like a bat cave.
Well, that was part of the allure of Dry Creek was our old house in downtown Boise fit inside of our current garage. Like when we moved over, literally our whole house is our garage, and then we have a house on the outside of that. So
God, that's so cool.
Yeah, it was a cool little brush your shoulder off.
Yeah, it does that off, baby. Yeah, one day I'd really like to have an RV garage. It'd be those things are awesome. And I have three boys, and I have this fantasy of having this RV garage that's like 45 feet long, and just making a second tier. And they turn into, if you did that, you'd get essentially like 1,000 square foot house, right? Yeah. So then it's like, boys, just go out there. Be monkeys. Like, I don't even care. Yeah. Of course, we'll hide a Ring camera so we can make sure they're not getting into trouble and stuff. But like, if you had literally 1,000 square foot house that you could send your kids,
16-foot garage or something, and you got
you got 8-foot ceilings. I mean, my kids are going to be tall, but we'll make it work. Have a media room, pool tables, and everything. Yeah, it'd be cool. Anyway, okay, so
actually, this one.
And again, the question was: is there a mix of density, varieties, blah blah blah?
Strong and diverse community. Yep. Strongly agree 8%, agree 50%, disagree 25%, strongly disagree 13%, don't know 4%. So this one...
Wait, 75% of people disagree or strongly disagree?
No.
Okay, sorry. Go back.
8, 50.
So strongly agree is 8, agree is 50. So 58% of people agree.
Yep. 25 and 13, so 38%
gotcha. Okay.
Generally disagree, and 4% didn't know.
I wonder what people would want differently. Like, what would it be?
Well, I feel like The joke about Idaho is diversity, I think. So I don't know if the neighborhood is in charge of getting ethnic diversity, but I think that's probably where I could see people getting caught up. Is the neighborhood actually that diverse?
I mean, I'm sick of staring at your white face. I don't know what to say. Like, at least you get to say a Mexican. Like,
that's not what the neighborhood or what Boise Hunter can do about with housing sizes and types, though. So,
right. And again, I think from a housing standpoint, from a neighborhood standpoint, I think everything's in keeping. I mean, there are some houses that are going up that are really, really big, but they're also on really, really big lots. So it's kind of like, look, get yours. It doesn't matter to me. It's not. I don't think they're building a 7,000 square foot on a quarter acre or something.
I mean, generally, I feel like even right now they're building, I think, 1/8 acre lots and 2 acre lots at the same time over in the new phase of the estates and whatever.
Are they on that east side? I thought it was all like 1/2 acre and above.
Over towards like where the wells are at? I don't know. Maybe I don't know.
Oh my gosh. By the way, the wells, the high pitched squeal that pump makes.
I've heard it once.
Oh my gosh. It is wild. Yeah. And they're just like, oh, we're going to do something about it. And then the next week
it turns off and then it comes back.
Yeah. And they're like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Yeah. we went and looked at it and it was fine.
Yeah, right. Something like that. It is what it is. Hopefully it gets taken care of, because a lot of those estate lots, the states, the easternmost ones that we're talking about, those are awesome houses and they're bigger. And if I moved in there and there was a high pitched whine like crazy, I would not be pleased.
They do have yards, so maybe I'm wrong. They're not 1/8 acre, but yeah.
Who knows? Doesn't matter. Yeah. All right, next one. Question 8, significant community amenities like trail connectivity and farm-to-table food concepts are provided by Dry Creek Ranch. So I'm going to capitalize on significant there because it actually calls out significant community amenities. But they mowed the weeds last week along the trail.
What did they say? 3 times a year, twice a year or something?
Something
they do
like
that?
Yeah.
And also trail connectivity, which this is just me, but I'm going to say the trail that goes from phase 1, 2 to phase equestrian, whatever that is, that doesn't connect to anything. So
wait, it has to literally, the only thing they have to do to win this one is connect the left side to the right side in something other than a paved road.
Yeah, maybe.
What about like connecting to the Eagle Bike Park?
So we could have another podcast about that.
And you posted on that, right? Yeah.
So yep, so that would, I think, be one of the major qualifications for this one. But so 5% of people strongly agree with the statement, and 28% agree. So that's 33% of people generally are positive about the community having significant amenities like trail connectivity and farm to table.
Here's the issue, though. Okay, so one, again, I kind of take back what I said earlier. We do have farm to table opportunity because Farmer Dan is pulling carrots or stuff,
to your table
and then Chris Gibbons drops it off. I'm like, this was alive 3 hours ago, and now it's dead on my doorstep. I'm gonna eat this, beet, whatever it is. Man, I made this hash the other day. It was so good. Mm-hmm. Oh, and the onions.
Breakfast.
Oh man, and I did.
I think it's really cool that I've never knew before that like some of these vegetables are supposed to dry out for months before you actually eat them. Like onions, he gives you all the information about how if you pull the onion out of the ground and you eat it that day, it's going to taste totally different than if you actually cure it over the course of the weeks or whatever.
Right. Farmer Dan and I were actually talking about that on our last. We've done 3 podcasts, and he was talking about how Michael Pollan, a very big agricultural journalist, was criticizing McDonald's because it's like they store the potatoes in a warehouse and all this, they get this gas out of them and all this stuff, and it sounds really like dark when Michael Pollan's going through it. Farmer Dan's like, no, you don't understand. They just leak gas. Like this is what the vegetable does, or like the fruit does, and like it's just part of the ripening process. It's not like some nefarious thing that they're doing.
Neglecting the potatoes in a warehouse.
Yeah. My uncle, when I was a kid, I remember him. He would very odd. I don't know why the man did this, but he would when he would come visit, he'd bring us like bags of kiwis. I'm like, why do you have kiwis? Kiwi fruit. And he's like, they're not quite ripe yet. Leave them in the brown paper bag shut for a week. And I was like, what kind of witchcraft are you doing? And now I get it. I'm like, oh, it's part of the ripening process.
Yeah,
like,
I heard about that with bananas too. Leave them in brown paper bag or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, and don't take that little plastic thing on the top off because it'll dehydrate.
Yep.
Yeah. Anyway, so I do very much think that we have farm-to-table access. I think that's a fair thing. But this is also saying significant recreational opportunities like it's not
trail.
saying exclusive
Do you have a
to.
trail? Yep.
Right. So we don't have great connectivity, even from one side of the community to the next.
Nope.
We have zero connectivity as of today.
To anywhere.
Excuse me, to anywhere.
Yep, outside the community. Yep.
Right, outside the community. And then there's nothing else.
Yep.
Because we do have, I think, we could go get horse lessons, couldn't we?
Yeah.
Like
could.
if we did like
I think
$30, we ride around.
You're supposed to be over the age of 4 is the requirement.
Okay,
and I think there may be a weight requirement also. So.
Okay, well,
hopefully
they got a big one.
Good.
Yeah. But
yeah.
That's I don't know if that's the community providing that, right? Because we have to pay for that. That's like if we had to pay to go to the pool, would you say that they're providing a recreational
if there's
pool?
A toll trail to get over somewhere. Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, that's a tell. We definitely have the farm to table amenities. I'm going to say like...
I mean, farm to table too, you have to pay for. It is an amenity, but...
That is true.
Yeah. It's... I don't know.
Dang it, man. Okay, let's go to the people. What did the people say?
So yeah, 38% of people either agree or strongly agree or agree. Disagree is 42%. Strongly disagree 23%. Don't know 2%. So 68%, 2-to-1 margin here of people disagree with the statement about the community having significant amenities.
Right. I think that's the primary. That and the warranties, honoring the warranties on houses. I think those are the two, and we're probably getting that question. I don't even know what all the questions were, but...
Okay, we got 4 more, and then we'll get into the...
Okay, great. But I think that the amenities, like the additional clubhouse or the community center or the commercial center is really the one that's sticking out in my mind, which is, they said they were going to have this spot, and I've always had this fantasy, like walking down there with my wife and getting a coffee in the morning after we drop our kids off. Where is that?
Yep. I feel like that's exactly what the people are saying is there's a lot of amenities that are supposed to be provided. And because also it's not, some communities don't have amenities and that's just fine. But I think most people in this community were sold on the fact that there are all these amenities. So which then the people start looking for them and we're not seeing them yet.
I remember seeing that, the map. Of the aerial map with all the lots, and there's the little horse head and little, thing for the farm. And then we were like, where's the legend? I don't even know what this icon is. What is this one? Right. But they were it had all of these things in there.
Swimming pool, house, community center, tennis courts. Yep. All that stuff.
We're getting tennis courts
or soccer courts. I think there's supposed to be soccer fields and tennis courts over by.
Yeah, and again, to your point, it's fine to live in a community that doesn't have it, but when you're sold that, hey, this is going to happen, this is coming in, and nobody said this is coming in 15 years, right? They're like, no, we're building this, right? We're going to have many pools, we're going to have, a gym in the community center. You're like, oh, that's awesome.
Yep.
When you're retiring or something.
Yeah, that is. I think there's quite a few kind of open comments about that.
All right, we'll get there. 4 more questions. Let's go.
Okay. We got a couple more before the 4 questions. There we go. Natural environment
do you want to refill on your basil, by the way? Or you want to go to beer? What do you want to do here?
I better go with beer.
Okay, well, the beer's right. I'm trying to be a good host.
Oh, yeah, thanks.
I'm going to go for my second gluten-free omission. Shout out Omission Brewing Company.
This is excellent, though. Thank you.
Wonderful.
Yep.
Wonderful. Here's to you, sir.
Cheers.
God, what a time. Just hunkered down.
God bless America.
God bless it. Reading a county response survey thing.
Politics. Yeah, this is government at work. Yep.
You know what? At least this is really pinging the people. Like, how cool. They're like, hey, what do you think of this developer?
Yep.
You're like, I don't know.
Somehow, I really do appreciate that there's some sort of check and balance to make sure that, they're held accountable. I love where we live in our neighborhood, but
yes.
But I could imagine that there are certain places or certain things that could happen that if a developer could really hold a whole neighborhood hostage, and if there's no recourse of how to go get help or make them do what's right. So
besides talking trash on a podcast, which gets you exactly zero cred. But and again, I don't think had I moved in here and nobody said anything about a commercial space or trails connecting all over the place or community center, I would have still moved here.
Yep.
Right? Like, I love this place.
There are a lot of neighborhoods that are up against the foothills, and then you just kind of hope that one day Ridged Rivers or Boise Land Trust or whatever is going to figure out how to get an easement for a trail. But it wasn't promised to you. It's just the fact that you're on the foothills.
Right, and that's the key. It's like, listen, you told me.
Yeah.
I didn't come to you asking for this. You told me this was going to happen.
Yeah.
And, like, I understand things take time, right? I'm not the type of person who's like, we need all of this right now, this second. I understand. And the cost of everything has gone up astronomically. So, like, I get all of that, but I think a good faith effort is really what I think a lot of people are stressed out about.
Yep.
Like, can we at least get somewhere with this?
Yeah. I think I remember a comment on when I posted this on the Facebook that someone was saying how it's really just a lack of communication between the developer and the community. If there was a timeline or if there was like a milestone or like, hey, we got to hit 600 houses sold and you get the second community center.
Tell your friends.
Yep. Like, all right, we're at 550, so no one's going to complain. It's like at 600 houses. That's when it commercially makes sense.
Yeah. What an interesting thing. And the other, to that point, the communication, we got that advisory board. Have you heard anything from them?
I get an email. It's been a couple months, but I get an email every couple months,
Oh my God, you want to know what? I had a breakthrough. Check this out. I successfully got myself removed from the email list for the AMI newsletter.
Yeah, I bet that was it. I bet that's where they got it.
I am so...
There hasn't been one in a while.
There was one recently.
The AMI?
The AMI one.
Yeah, the AMI one. We get the AMI corporate...
That's what I'm saying.
Update.
I'm not saying I got removed from the AMI thing that has to do with Dry Creek Ranch. I got removed from the AMI corporate, a feat that some said was impossible, right? But I got confirmation today that I will never get one again. I'm very excited. Thank you. I've done a lot of things in my life, Ross. Yeah. This one's it, baby.
It's a win.
It's a win. So shout out everyone. You can get off the AMI corporate newsletter if you want. You just have to email 12 times. Anyway, that's it. Yeah. Get going. All right, next one.
Okay. Natural environment. The natural environmental qualities of the land, air, and water have been maintained by Dry Creek Ranch. So, I mean, some of that's the open spaces, especially the creek. I think, that's pretty untouched. The land, the air, and the water, I guess they're not doing open burns to affect the air.
I think that's pretty much fine. I do. Yeah. There is trash that gets blown around the community, but I don't see the trash in the creek.
Yeah.
Right? Like, it's usually up against somebody's fence or something.
Creek maintenance crew or something that goes around and picks up trash once a year and does like a cleanup day.
So they go around half as much as they cut the weeds.
Yeah.
Because that's twice a year. So I think that's fine. So what did the people say for this?
So the people, 8% strongly agree, 48% agree. So that's
there we go.
56% generally positive, 27% disagree, 13% strongly disagree. I mean, I could see there's a lot of like runoff in the gutters and stuff. Maybe that affects the water, the qualities of the land, air, and water. I don't know.
Runoff in the gutters. Like, what do you mean?
Along the edge of the street. Have you seen?
No, I know what a gutter is, Ross. What I'm saying is like what runoff from where?
Sprinklers or bad drainage or something.
Okay, but
there's
is it like, hey, do sprinklers run into the gutter, and is there like, and then you're compromising the water quality of the area? Yeah,
I mean, if you ask me how is the water quality, and I see a bunch of pond scum in front of $1 million house, then I say, I'm probably not going to say strongly agree.
The Shrek pond is pretty funny.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. I see. So I could see some people disagree.
Some people. I'm just trying to figure out how these people probably answer disagree or strongly disagree.
Well, I mean, just for my part, I don't think I haven't seen a lot of like damaging of the environment by the builder. Yeah. That's just me.
Right. Yep. No, I agree with that.
Okay.
Question 10. Dry Creek residents have been protected to the extent possible from potential wildfire threats and wildfire control. So I remember a couple comments about this originally because they were updating the power line that goes along whatever that street is, Brookside, that turns into something, Quail. Is it Quail?
Yeah.
Something. And there's a lot of concern about why didn't you put the power lines underground because it's safer in
Yes.
fire. So I think that's that's potential, but to the extent possible from wildfire threats. I don't know. Anyway, let's read the answers.
Well, I will say that at the last HOA meeting, I did ask Steven if we had backup generators for our pumps in the event that power went out. And he
Right,
said,
for
I think
water.
we have like 3 days.
And that's true. I think the third well is a excess in case of
yes, it's a
fire.
redundancy.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's great. I actually feel very confident and comfortable here. Like, we don't have a lot of fuel. I mean, everybody waters their lawn like crazy. These are updated houses. I mean, yeah, I think it works pretty well.
It'd be interesting. Have you driven around Avamore much?
A couple times for like kids' birthday parties and stuff.
I know, comparing, since I know that's one of the other master communities, I would say they probably do the max possible, just because I think part of their landscaping plan is that you have to have like a rock barrier around your whole home.
Oh.
And
I thought it was just crappy design.
I think it's fire-wise, but I don't know that I would say lush green grass is worse than having a 10-foot rock barrier. So,
yeah, I don't know. Yeah, that's interesting. The thing with Avamore too is, I mean, you can get bottlenecked in that community really fast because you have like a lot of I mean, some roads are like, this is the only way in and out. And, you have a lot of ways you could disperse out of Dry Creek Ranch. Obviously, we only have 2 bridges. And so there's that. But, like, you're not going to get stuck in a lot of streets where you can't go one way or another.
The other one.
Yeah.
Especially in the middle of the community. I feel like that's true. Avamore has a lot of, like, satellite arms or something.
Yes.
And Dry Creek is pretty much...
Yeah, it's a circle. So you're like a bristle starfish versus one of the what are the fat ones with like the tiny little arms? I don't know. It doesn't matter.
Starfish. I don't know.
Yeah. Brindle starfish. There it is. The brindle starfish have they're like a tiny little circle with these crazy arms going out, and then they're the other starfish that have like webs in between.
Californians know all this ocean.
Come on, baby. Yeah.
Biology.
I'm
stuff.
sorry. I probably
Start talking about cutthroat trout or something.
All right. What do you say?
So 9%.
What did the people say?
Strongly agree. 47%. Sorry, 9% strongly agree. Yeah. 47% agree. 10% disagree. 7% strongly disagree, and 27% don't know. So this is
okay.
actually,
Most people are really positive.
This is the most positive.
We're protected from wildfires.
Yep.
Great. I love that.
Cool. Question 11. Construction, expansion, and maintenance of infrastructure in Dry Creek Ranch to meet the existing and growing demands have taken place in a timely, orderly, and logical manner.
Say that one again.
Construction, expansion, and maintenance of the infrastructure to meet the existing and growing demands have taken place timely, orderly, and logical.
I mean, for the most part, I think, the infrastructure. So we're talking roads, we're talking drains, we're talking utilities and stuff. Like,
yeah,
I would say yes.
I think, construction. What's the infrastructure, I guess? Is that roads?
Yeah,
roads
I think it's all the stuff that
drains.
the houses sit on top of and need.
Okay. Yeah. So actually only 3% strongly agree with that statement. 23% agree.
Oh, this is a bad one.
And then we got 33 and 35 on disagree, strongly agree. So 68% of people, this is over a 2-to-1 margin on disagree. So I think...
Are people taking this like as the clubhouse isn't done or something?
I think the big thing here is the stoplight. I think people want the stoplight. I would actually also, looking at the master plan, the survey just came out recently, but when they had to do when they were working on that section of road past the hills, and all of the Dry Creek Road construction came through the center of the neighborhood to get out of the stoplight, I think that was kind of a mess. I actually am surprised that they did the bridge where they did it instead of the one. There's supposed to be a second bridge over beyond the equestrian area.
Yeah, it's supposed to go all the way past the equestrian area and eventually hit Dry Creek Road, right?
And that I think was maybe the logical road construction to get traffic from like Hidden Springs out to the existing stoplight instead of kind of going through the middle of the neighborhood. But they wanted to get the hills going, I'm sure. But I think that between construction going through or let's say traffic going through the neighborhood during the construction of the road, and then the stoplight at Dry Creek Road, which was technically not in the master plan. They got added, thankfully. So I bet that's the big sticking point.
If they start routing traffic from Dry Creek Road in Hidden Springs past the equestrian center down Brookside, like, there are no houses on Dry Creek Road.
Yep.
Right? And if you start pumping all of that traffic through a 25-mile-an-hour residential road with no lines in the center of it,
yeah,
like,
that is
not going to be great.
You mean off of the Brookside Road? That is interesting.
Brookside is
There's
like
two bike lanes and no center.
There's no center, and you have houses right there, and you have kids like rolling down the green, knoll. In the wintertime, kids like sled down that. The first snow, it's like that whole area is lined with kids just going the stupid disc like up and down. Right? Could you imagine all of Dry Creek Road traffic going through there all of a sudden?
I think that was the plan originally, because they didn't have a stoplight going to Dry Creek Road and 55 in the plan. So the only stoplight they had approval on this master plan was Brookside. So
man, that's going to be wild.
So I don't know
if they do that.
And
because all those acre lots right there on West Muir Pond, all of a sudden your acre lot line,
you're going to get those semi trucks going through. I know the houses that back up, like, is it Almond? No, not Almond. What are the houses that back up to like the community center? Those homes didn't like the semis and motorcycles going right by their backyard either.
Oh yeah, who would?
Yep. So,
that'd be not great.
Yep.
Yeah. All right, next one.
So disagree on infrastructure there. Dry Creek Ranch has taken reasonable measures to reduce traffic generated by the development. I'm going to go this one fast. So agree or strongly agree is 43%. Disagree, strongly disagree, 47%. So we're a little bit negative on that one. I'll just add, I think supposedly same time as the stoplight at Dry Creek Road and 55, they're going to expand 55 to be 2 lanes each direction all the way to Shadow Valley Golf Course. And that was part of the master plan agreement. Boise Hunter Homes agreed to pay for that themselves for the road expansion. So,
well, that would be good.
So I think it would help. It hasn't happened yet. So it has taken reasonable measures to reduce traffic generated by the development. I don't know what they've done so far.
I don't know anything. I mean, I don't feel there's a lot of traffic in the community or, big lines anywhere. So I don't know.
Yeah. Question 13. Your quality of life as a resident of Dry Creek Ranch has been enhanced through parks, facilities, pathways, trailways, community gardens, and recreational opportunities. 32% of people are positive on this one, and 64% of people are negative.
That's exactly half.
Yep.
That is an exact 2 to 1.
2 to 1. So, again, I think it's... we'll get into the open questions, but parks, facilities, pathways, trailways. We do have a garden.
We have a garden?
Or a community garden, it says. So we have a CSA. We have a farm.
I think Dan said you can go pick flowers there. Oh, don't quote me on this, because if Dan didn't say that, I'm going to feel horrible if like 50 people roll in.
I know we used to be able to. I think now there's a flower delivery option. Community garden. I don't know if you could grow your own stuff there or not.
Okay, but let's go back to parks. So the only thing that I know that really qualifies as a park is the little diminutive like slide thing, and that's not much of a park.
Yep. In phase 1, which is tiny.
Right. Yep. There is the soccer field. Okay, so like credit where credit's due. There's a soccer field that's widely utilized, at least by anyone who likes large grass areas. Yep. There are like the open space areas just in general. Those are not bad. I know people throw parties and stuff there. Yeah,
open space. I know drainage has always been an issue with like mud across the trails and stuff. But we do have pathways. So I think inter-community pathways, I'd say, are pretty decent.
Those are great, actually. I really enjoy those.
Yep. Trailways, recreational opportunities. We got the pool and the soccer field. So I don't know, but I think there's, this is one of those areas I think that people will comment that improvements could be made.
Sure.
Last multiple choice question. Here we go. The design of Dry Creek Ranch through street design and landscaping provides a sense of arrival. So 61% of people are positive on this one. 34% are negative. I think this is a tricky question because even just now when I read it, the design of Dry Creek Ranch through street design, if we stopped right there, I would say negative.
Why is that?
I think there's too many streets that are narrow, don't allow parking on both sides, and they're trying to remedy that by making it no parking or fire lanes on a whole side. Ironically, they made the fire lane on the opposite side of the street from the fire hydrants in almost every case. So you're allowed to park in front of the fire hydrant, but not in front on the other side of the street.
I didn't know that. That's a rough one. That's a hard miss.
So street design. So I just think generally narrow streets and like parking areas.
But is it asking if the street design is efficient, or is it asking if you have a sense of arrival, right? Because for me, like when I drive down Brookside to get home, right? So I go up to the light, make a right turn.
Yeah. No, I think that big monument thing they have there, I think.
Yeah, that's cool. And you go over the bridge, but you have the berm as you head east all along Brookside. You turn into any of those streets and all of a sudden it's like, you have arrived.
The trees going down both sides.
Oh, dude, it's great.
Once those grow up, it's going to be amazing.
Oh, it's great. And when you can see, you get past some of the trees over near Stone Crossing, you get, those trees are gone now, but there is some obstruction. But the point is, you get around like a half mile and you have that gorgeous view of Bogus. I love it. Like I love coming home every day.
I agree. So sense of arrival, I think is amazing. Both the monument and the street design, what is it? The strips they have with the plants in the middle. There's different names for that little strip between the sidewalk and the road. I think there's like 30 different names for that. Supposedly you can tell where in the United States you're from, depending on what you call that.
For real?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know what it's called, so I guess that means I'm definitely from California. I had no idea these things even had a name.
They don't exist. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Okay, so people, what do people think?
So 61% positive, 34% negative.
Okay,
I think
that's good.
So that's a good one.
Just cranky guys like you about the fire lane.
Which, again, is not the question, but you comment street design, and you got me thinking.
Here we go. Okay, so that's the end of the actual survey. Yeah. Now we're on to the free response questions.
Open responses. So I have tallied these myself. I tried to group this. So a little bit of I'm an Excel nerd, I guess, but here we go. Question 15. What do you like about living in Dry Creek Ranch? There weren't 142 respondents, so I think a bunch of people just skipped the open questions.
Sure.
In order of popularity, number one answer is the people in the community, which I 100% agree. The people living in this neighborhood and the sense of community, everybody's new, making friends, just being friendly with anyone you meet out on the street, at the pool, the events, all of that stuff is great. So,
I'm just glad I met you so I can tell people like I have an Idaho friend.
Yeah.
I can check that box. It's not everybody's from California or Washington.
I'm your token Idaho friend.
Oh my God. Oh my God. You are... God bless you, Russ. You're the best. Yeah, I agree with you. Like, people are awesome here. I really, really enjoy them.
Yeah.
And like, people are awesome here in frequency greater than I normally, because I'm generally a really positive person, but I have met a lot of families here that are just like, God, man, you're really cool.
Yep, cool people. Yeah. I think everybody came here looking for the same thing, the same values, the same enjoyment of the outdoors, of community, of doing fun stuff.
Yeah.
So,
yeah.
I think it's great. Number two answer, and I'll just say these are like 4 and 5 times the next highest thing. So these are like by and far the major answers are location. So everybody loves location, the views of Bogus, the foothills, just the part of town that we're on, the access to everything. So 26% said something about location is the number 2 thing.
How about the fact that if it's snowing here, sometimes it's raining just down the road. Yeah. Like we have a little microclimate. That's so cool.
You if you park on the street, you got like a foot of snow as you drive down into downtown Eagle, and it's just like raining and no snow.
I know. I drop my kids off at school, and it's just raining and dark. Yeah. Then I come up here, I'm
5 minutes away.
It's a winter wonderland.
I actually have plants in your yard. I always go one hardiness zone lower because we're going to get hit a little bit more.
Yeah, it's cool. It's a cool spot.
I'll just fire off a couple of the other ones, though. Those are the two main things that people love about living in Dry Creek Ranch. People also like the farm, the homes and the lots, or six answers and 5 answers, and everything below here is 2 or less. People appreciated it. 2 people said they liked the trail access. Someone actually typed out none.
They actually wrote out none.
Yeah. We got I
hope that person's a renter.
Yeah.
Like it would be such a bummer if somebody like bought this huge house and just none. I like nothing.
Yeah.
Oh
man. One person liked the Creekside Trail, social activities, the infrastructure, the horses, and the safety are all things people like about living.
I love all that.
Yeah.
I love all that.
I think they're good. Question 16. This is the fun one. Are there any improvements you would make to the planned community? So we got lots of suggestions here, which I feel like I broke them down, but we should go read some of these.
Okay. Listen, you're the one with the laptop, so I'm following your lead here.
Okay. But I'll just go ahead and say amenities is the general gist.
I think people want another pool. They want a clubhouse. They want some trails connecting us to Eagle Bike Park. Like that's really it.
Yeah.
If BHH popped for another pool and a community center, and I know I think Steve said it would be like $4 million or something. Yeah. It's like, okay, look, I get it. Can you put it on a card? Can you just get us? Because I think if you did that, you would take the legs out of like 90% of the problems. And then you have normal builder problems, which is, hey, look, my floors are buckling. Like, can you come fix them? And then it takes too long to fix them, or people don't feel. And that's on a case-by-case basis. Because as much as I've heard people complain about that, I've heard other people be like, oh, it was really painless. Like, I wasn't happy about it. We had problems, but they fixed them. So it's kind of like, you go case by case.
I mean, that's the builder and the HOA. So actually one of the things that'll get brought up here. Maybe I'll just read that comment.
Hit it.
So I think the community being built by Brookside Developers, BHH, is very good. I would give them a B+. Not everyone's going to be happy with BHH's decisions, but they're not ours to make. However, as the board of directors of the HOA, they receive an F. Again, I'm just reading a comment here. They have 100% control over the HOA, are not even doing an adequate job. It's August and no homeowners meeting to review the 2022 has been scheduled. The financial statements produced in May of 23 for 2022 were late and inaccurate. Management company has been notified in November of 2022 that the financial statements were incorrect and needed significant adjustments, but were produced and posted anyway with the board of directors approval. Again, it's mid-August. No corrected financial statements for last year have been delivered. The homeowners on the ACC committee that approve changes for the homeowners' property are being ignored, and their decisions are being overturned by the board of directors. Neighbors are making changes to their property without approval or with a denial, and no action is being taken by the board of directors to correct these problems. The board of directors is ineffective and negligent. I thought that when we moved in, having the developer in charge of the HOA would be a good idea. Then you have the board run it like a business, and you wouldn't have the homeowners at war with each other. However, this particular developer, BHH, is running a bad business. I understand that this is not their main business, but they know they have been negligent in their duties as board of directors and have not made it a priority to fix the problems. They know that AMI, the management team, is doing a bad job, but have refused to make a change. The improvement that I would suggest is that BHH is no longer in control of the BOD. BHH says they now have someone on their staff, but the problem still exists. 2 more sentences.
Okay.
No annual homeowners meeting, no BOD meetings that the homeowners can attend, and no accurate financial statements. The developer is apathetic to our concerns and has definitely been negligent in their duties. A change is needed immediately to keep this beautiful development a wonderful place to live. This is, I mean, honestly, that's someone wrote a page, but this was the one option in the survey where people had a voice.
Right.
And I think this brings up what you were just saying about how Boise Hunter, as a home builder, has a job, and as a developer has a job, and then there's the HOA, which Boise Hunter has also taken on themselves, which at least this comment is.
Now, is it standard for the builder to be in charge of the HOA until the development's done, or is that atypical?
In my experience, I think it's typical.
Okay, so it's not that BHH made this odd election that they're like, I will elect to take this. Don't worry, I'll do a good job.
Yeah. I think it's more, yeah. I think especially this comment is that they elected to do that, which sounds like it could have. I think there's even another comment, something saying this is where I learned this is, but they decided to stay in control of the HOA, which was their choice, but there's certain expectations if you do that.
Sure.
As far as maintaining the community and dealing with issues and all that, which
you have one job.
Yep.
Now, I'll be honest with you. The one aspect of the HOA that I think is working flawlessly is whoever the person is that comes around to write people up. Okay. This fucking guy or gal, whoever this person is, does not miss anything. Now, this person is obviously ignorant I had a neighbor he had a BHH home, and they hadn't even finished painting his house. He was a year in, okay, and he was very displeased with the situation. I think his house is beautiful, and he thought it was too. He was like, they just hadn't finished the stuff. So he has finally the painter comes. It's a year after he's moved in. Finally the painter comes to finish like painting some piece of his outside, right? And he gets written up
for having unnecessary.
Yeah, they're like, you have to get the paint colors approved. He's like, this is the builder. Like they didn't even fit. So like that person does not flinch. Right. They're like, listen, I see anything.
Yeah. I gotta say, I've gotten a couple write-ups. One of them was the day that I had a landscaper for an approved project park the car, and he left for lunch for an hour. And during that 1 hour thing, I got ticketed for having the bulldozer sort of thing in the driveway. Yeah.
They are not. Yeah. Like that person is like, listen, I have one. Do you ever watch The Office?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So Creed, the character Creed, in one of his interviews is like, the only thing between me and a homeless man is this job. And I will do anything to keep it. It's like it goes around and Creed's crazy, right? Yeah. But I feel like, I don't know the person who writes people up, but I feel like that might be that person's attitude. Like, listen to me. I got one job and I am going to do this job without fail. Like it's pretty wild. One nuance of this came up in the August 22 HOA meeting. There was no clarity on how they were going to enforce RVs. They're like, you have 72 hours to have your RV or trailer or something parked there. And it's like, okay, that seems reasonable. But the person only comes around once every 2 weeks or something, right? So it was like, wait, how do you know if this thing
they just ticket you if it's there for that?
Right, when that person comes around, they're like, this thing has to move. It's like, what do you mean it has to move? Yep. I have 72 hours, right? Or like basketball hoops.
But at least they weren't given tickets for that time. It was a warning. And then I think unless you left it there for a full week until the next Tuesday or the
But how would you know? Like, what's the mechanism to know that you didn't take it somewhere for 6 days and come back and you're unpacking it?
So
who knows, man? This is all wishy-washy. Yeah. Anyway, okay.
Okay.
So by and large, this person's saying, hey, look, the HOA is poorly run. It shouldn't be run by the builder. They need to take complaints more seriously.
They started it by saying the community is very good. You would give them he or she would give them a B+
for actually building the homes
and building the community. And not everyone's going to be the decision, or happy, but it's not our decision to make.
Right. And at the end, very positive. It's a beautiful place to live. The HOA is just being mismanaged.
Yep.
I think that's really fair.
Yeah. It took a long time to get there. That was
long time to listen.
But your voice has been heard, whoever wrote that. So
voice has been heard. It's the opposite of the person who wrote none.
Yeah.
Here's what they went out of their way to write.
Type on a what do you like?
Nothing. Nothing. Have you seen that Instagram video where the girl is in the front seat of the car freaking out because she hasn't eaten all day? She's like, I worked 12 hours. I ate nothing. And people did all these remixes with it.
Nothing.
I ate nothing. And this guy's playing his guitar, and it's one of those like ridiculous, social media things. It doesn't matter. Keep going.
Okay.
Nothing.
I'll watch it if I get you.
Alfie didn't send it to you. It's a Wingstop. She's like, I just want Wingstop. I've never had Wingstop. We should have got it tonight.
I think there is one here right now.
Yeah. Wingstop on the white chairs is probably not the play.
Yeah.
It happens. Anyway.
These are nice.
Well, they used to be. Keep going.
A traffic signal is needed at the intersection of State Highway 55 and Dry Creek Road. We got it. Or it's on the way, I guess. The additional community center that developer was to build is taking longer than promised. I don't know what they promised. Lastly, the developer indicated that there would be retail amenities at the entrance of the planned community, but there does not look like there's any planned in the foreseeable future. So, this is all hearsay. This could totally be urban legend. But
I love hearsay. Go.
The stoplight at the Dry Creek Road, and so this is going to be my own 2 cents. The master plan community put the retail center not where a stoplight was, is how their map was. They didn't have a stoplight designated for Dry Creek Road and 55, but that is where they wanted to put the retail center. I heard, I think from Steven maybe, that no retailers were interested in building at that location unless there was a stoplight there so people could get back out easily.
Yeah, Steven made that point very, very clear at last year's HOA meeting. Yes.
So kind of poor planning that they want a retail center, but they need a stoplight. They didn't get a stoplight in the plan. So now that stoplight has been approved, hopefully once the stoplight goes in, then a retail person will be more interested in the...
Yeah, that's what you said. Steven did actually say. He made that point very, very clear. He's like, we have had zero commercial interest in this place.
And I do think, again, to Boise Hunter Homes, I'm not a great developer planner, but Boise Hunter isn't going to build the building that a grocery store or a brewery would operate in, I don't believe. I think they're expecting that they sell the land, so they need someone that wants a brewery to purchase land from Boise Hunter and then build a building and then operate it. Right. And if nobody's interested in doing it, I don't know what Boise Hunter could do, although there's probably a lot of developer incentives and people that people are smarter than me that figure that out.
You know how hard a brewery and a pizza place would crush?
Yeah.
They would wreck.
All the time.
Oh my gosh.
I want coffee shop in the morning, convert to brewery, ice cream shop, burger, pizza.
Oh.
If you have, I just want one. I want all of that.
Yeah, my buddy Shane, actually, he comes up with all these ideas. They're like, okay, bro, listen. What if I get a wood burning pizza oven in my backyard? Because he's got a place in Italy. He's like this big into. He actually has a consulting firm to help Americans purchase places in Italy. So if you want like a $500,000 place in Italy, you want to retire there one day or go on vacations or whatever you want to do. There are nuances, obviously, and distinctions between the American system and the Italian system. So he's got this.
He helps them with that.
Yeah, right. So he has this site, like you can talk to him and he'll help you walk you through it and everything. Excuse me. So he's like, I'm taking pizza lessons in Italy, right? So like I could get a wood-burning pizza oven here and we can do pizzas. It's like, Shane, that sounds like a great idea. Do you want to work until 2 a.m. every Friday and Saturday night? Because that's what would happen. Yeah. Like, I was like, and you could even pay like teenagers $5 to go like deliver the pizzas throughout the community. Yeah. We have a whole system where, and he's like, okay, we do an espresso bar and a pizza place. I'm like, okay, Shane, again, good idea. Do you want to work from 4 a.m. making espressos until, 2 a.m.? Yeah. Like pull a 22-hour day. Yeah, but it would go so hard.
I actually was just thinking the brewery in Avamore. Have you been up there, Spring Creek?
I have never eaten there. I do. I know where it is.
It's surprisingly good. And if you want to get in on Friday or Saturday night, you have to have a reservation like a week in advance because it just gets hammered. But I'm pretty sure it was actually someone made home brews in their backyard, and all of their buddies said that these are so good, you should open up a brewery. And so he got like 40 partners that all contributed for him to build the building initially. And so that was like a community, what is that, fundraising community?
Yeah, like crowdsourced. There you go.
Yeah, it was like crowdsourced brewery that they built in Avamore, but it crushes it now.
I have, one of my wife's bridesmaids is married to this dude, Brian, who was a dude at Google until he was like, I'm going to open a brewery. Yeah. Right? Like every other bro in California. Yeah. And you're like, what are you doing? What is to be gained? Well, now he has 3 of them. And he wrecks. Yeah. And he has like basketball hoops and these breweries and stuff like, so he makes he got it. Like he understood the niche, but like, man, I wonder if he would like, teach me the ways.
Yeah,
like,
dude.
you know, we just
There we
crowdsourced
go.
between the two of us. It's
Matt
like
Todd-
Ross and Matt.
Matt Todd University.
Come with me.
Brewer.
Come with me, Ross. Let's do this. No, we steal the name from The Office. We call it Public School. The Public School Brewery.
Public school. Going down to public school.
Yeah,
We need a
right.
public school. Do we have
Oh
a public
my
school in the community? Yes.
They're great. All right, keep going.
All right. Let's see. Stop building. Let the wildlife live. This was their home before Boise Hunter and Ada County were more interested in
I'm going
the
to go ahead
money
and stop you right
they
there.
would make.
If this is somebody who bought here and now you're telling them to stop, I don't appreciate this. That's like you get the last burger from In-N-Out and then tell In-N-Out to go away.
Yeah.
That's not fair.
I also would just like Boise Hunter. They've published their master plan of 1,600 homes for a long time. Like that is the plan. I don't know if you're going to get much success there, but
Right, nor are you getting any sympathy. If you, unless this person is a renter and this is the only place they could rent and they hate it here. They're like, I hate it here. I don't want to live here. You should stop building it. But if you're somebody who lives here and then you're telling everyone else to stop building, it's like you're benefiting from like a gopher used to live here. The gopher's gone now. Like it doesn't, and like maybe I'm being too critical, but I just don't think that's fair.
I think it's pretty cool. We still have the elk that come down in the estates over there, and there's been a deer running along the creek all the time, and then we had the bobcat and I don't know if you remember the cougar.
Oh my God, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that. I did hear though that there's going to be a problem with the elk because they cross at a spot over farther down Dry Creek Road that is slotted to have houses in it.
Oh, really?
So when the elk come over the hill south of Dry Creek Road and try to move north through a little gully, there's going to be like, RVs and houses in there.
I don't know.
It'd be wild if you had like 100 elk running down your street.
Have you seen like a herd of elk go storming? My wife, her family's from Eastern Oregon, and I've seen some videos of like people driving down the road, and there's like 1,000 elk just jumping fence, cross the road, jump a fence, and it just goes on and on and on.
Just a mass of flesh
it's
jumping
amazing.
like 8 feet in the air. Yeah, they're the size of horses too, and they're just huge, and they don't care at all.
Yeah.
Oh man, it's wild.
Next
Anyway,
up,
I'm sorry, person whoever wrote that. I don't have sympathy for people who buy and then they're like, everybody else
no one
needs to
else
stop.
needs to stop.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
adding additional community pools to support the development. The only existing one is always full, and no plans have been shared to add another anytime soon. The plan to add shade has also been delayed and taken much longer than it should. That is true and true.
But we do have the thong shades.
We do have the shades now. So we got the shades. It did take much longer than it should have, or than it was shared that it would. I don't know. I'm always curious. Like someone left a comment here, and I really that resonated with me about milestones. Like if you don't want to build a second community center until it's 500 houses or 200 houses or whatever.
Give me a target.
Yep. I don't know that I have seen an actual timeline shared for any of these things, so I don't know if I would say that they're late. Usually, like, is the other pool, is it late to add the development? It's just...
Right, what was on time?
Yeah, later than I want, maybe, but...
Sure.
Or than the people want, but...
And I think there's nuance here with what were you promised?
Yeah.
Because again, look, I'm not saying that any of the salespeople that anybody worked with or had malicious intent or intentionally misled people, but I think there was a sense of...
Yeah.
And perhaps it was assumptions. They're like, oh, there's going to be another community center. There is another community center. Oh, yeah, and three pools.
I've seen the picture of the other community center that was supposed to be where the equestrian center is now. And they shared some vision of that. Also, I remember thinking, probably my own assumption, that, oh, we're moving in and my daughter is 1 year old, so there will definitely be a school by the time she's going to go into kindergarten.
That's not happening.
But no,
that's not happening.
Definitely not.
Charter school or otherwise.
She's 4 now, so
that's not happening. Unfortunate.
Yeah. More walking trails needed. I would like the rules to be evenly applied to all. The construction of buildings and backyards that are open to a trail are not followed and not enforced, which is an eyesore to others. Not enforcing trailers, motorhomes parked in the street and parking in the driveway and lived in are not enforced. I would like to see that people...
This is like Berkeley, like people living in RVs?
Parked in the driveway and lived in.
Whatever.
Yep. I would like to see that people take care of yards, especially islands are watered, weeded, and taken care of better. That's kind of tough because that's not really... I guess it is an improvement. Some of that, though, I know Boise Hunter is going to say roads and trailers and all of that is a Ada County sheriff problem. Like it's public land. And if people, that's like one of those HOA things that I don't know where the right line is about. If people want to water and weed their own yards, there's something about an eyesore, so I think HOA will come into warning at some point. But
yeah, I actually got
what's
one
the
of those.
balance of those? I don't know.
I feel terrible about it. It's like, I want you to know my yard's very nice now. Don't worry about it.
Good job.
Yeah.
Connectivity to the local trail system is very important for me. Right now, there are no connections to Avamore or the Eagle Bike Park or the Ridge to Rivers trail system near Hidden Springs. The community is in need of an additional recreation center and pool. I would like to see a lap pool with lines on the bottom made a priority. So, yeah.
A lap pool would be cool.
I think one of those pools is supposed to be a lot bigger. I think actually this community center and this pool are supposed to be the smallest ones in the community, supposedly.
That'd be wild.
Yeah.
If we had like a big one.
Yeah.
That'd be kind of cool. I'd swim laps.
Yeah.
Are you a swimmer?
I used to be, and I should more often.
You should more often,
Yeah.
Ross.
Although just last night, a neighbor challenged me if I could swim across the whole pool without taking a breath, and I can still do it.
Still got it, baby.
Yeah.
Can you do there and back?
Underwater? No, I don't think so.
Just
Not
gotta
right now.
streamline. Just streamline and relax, Ross.
Yeah. I would ensure the stability of the barn. I would expand the trails. I would have a landscape plan with more uniformity and use of plants, trees that are appropriate for yard sizes. I feel like they do kind of have that. The area also needs a nice park for the kids. There's one area with a very small playground. For a neighborhood of this size, I would like to see restaurants and local businesses. The neighborhood of this size probably needs more than one clubhouse. Bike lanes added to new areas. I have seen some. So
You have seen bike lanes?
no, that is what this says. Yeah.
Oh. I didn't know we have bike lanes in new areas.
I think the Brookside turns into again whatever road that the big one is. That
Quail
one,
or whatever
yeah, that
it
one
is.
has bike lanes. I don't know.
It does. It does.
the hills
You're
have-
100% right.
Does the hills have bike lanes?
I
don't know.
Not that I've seen.
I don't know. I haven't been over there lately.
This person paints a very cool picture. Local
Yeah.
businesses, better landscaping. I mean,
Yeah.
I like the
Another-
landscaping,
yeah,
but whatever.
Park for the kids.
Yeah. You know what I really like is the little killdeer birds. The little guys running around. They're so cool. My dog is dying to get a hold of one. And it's like, he's a fat little French
they're
bulldog.
tricky,
He's not
yeah.
getting anything. But like,
They're
they're
smart.
just, especially when I go running, whenever I see them, I'm like, God, what a cool animal.
Yeah, they are cool. I mean, you've seen them where they kick their wing back like it's broken and everything. Like that's,
No.
No, the cool thing about killdeer, I think, that I always learned as a kid, they'll have a nest somewhere, and then as soon as anything else comes over next to the nest, they don't want things looking for the nest, so it walks away 10 feet and then kicks its wing back like it's broken and squawk, 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 tries to get the thing to walk over to it, and then as soon as you get close to it, it pops up and runs another 10 feet away, and it like leads you away from wherever its nest was. So it's like
Because they're ground nesting.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yep. So,
Yeah, but I don't try to mess with them.
yeah.
When
Well,
I see
just
them,
think
I usually just walk away from them, Ross. Stop messing with the little killdeer.
I learned this as a kid, but I think they're cool. Like, and you can find it, and then man, they'll really start trying to draw your attention if you.
You
get
mean
closer.
if you go harass the nest?
If you just go look at it?
I have a vision of you as a very bad child.
I was a great child. I was a carefree child, but
Yeah. Oh my god. All right, let's
I don't think I've ever heard of killdeer or a nest in my whole life. So there we go.
You've never hurt one or heard one?
Hurt or
Oh, good.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
You're not a crazy person. Okay, why don't we do two more? Do you have two more good punches?
Two more. Okay.
Or anything
I
worthy
didn't
of
highlight
note?
this. The HOA is atrocious.
Oh.
Poor communication, treats the residents poorly, hardly ever follows through on anything. My biggest complaint is the trees on the trail that Boise Hunter just allowed to die for a couple of years. Now that a few have been replaced, they're already showing symptoms of dying within a month of being planted. The hunters have also prioritized a horse stable that serves 1 to 2 families, including the hunters, instead of another pool. The pool has become absolutely horrible to attend due to the amount of residents now living in the community. So we didn't talk about this yet, but I do think the equestrian area, it is very interesting to me still that there's no homes that have a horse barn or horse
Like
stall
local
or anything
stable
themselves. They're still working on the estates, so maybe some will come. I don't know if there's a shortage, but it would be interesting if, if at some point there were more people wanted to board horses in the stables. You think they'd kick the hunters out who don't actually live in the neighborhood?
Are they boarding horses there?
I think a couple of them.
Oh. I don't know about those horse people. I want to know about the horse people who came through last weekend and crapped all down Mirpa. Like, those are the ladies I want to talk to. Like, what's going on for you? You don't live here, and those horses don't live here. Like, where did you come? I think they came from the stable on Beacon and 55. Because, there's that. Yeah.
And they crossed like all the way.
Yeah, I think they went over trails and just came over and then dropped into the neighborhood and were like, and like pooped. I mean, poor Dan had this like giant steamy pile in front of us. I was like, what is happening here? Like,
people love picking up dog poop. And
I know. And somebody told me last week, they're like, listen, man, I've ridden horses a lot. I have never once worried about horse poop. Like, were you walking? Were you going the horse down like a main street? He's like, no, it's trails. It's like, all right, well, if you're on a trail, any trail.
Yeah, I do actually think different, not in front of people's houses, but on the new east development over next to the well, there's more horse poop over there, which is on the road, and there is a bridle path about 6 feet over that they designated. They made a bridle path, that whole section of neighborhood over there. But no, the horse walked on the road and crapped on the road.
God, I love that.
That's literally like just taking a crap on this rule or this thing you made.
Yeah, look, the horse thing, it's like, what are you going to do, man? Who knows?
Yeah.
Like, I'm not a horse guy. And yeah, it would have been great to have a community center. I don't get anything out of the horses, but it said it was a horse community. And I think the point that you made that I keep thinking back to is, they never told us when this was happening. Yep. They said it was going to happen.
Right.
And
according to the development or the master plan, all of these amenities that they did promise that are on the master plan have to happen before the last lot is sold. But there are a lot of houses.
Right. We have like 9 more years, right? 10
long
more
time.
years.
Yeah. Depends on how fast houses sell.
Right. So it's kind of like, I mean, again, I'm not saying that the hunters have done everything right, but I think there's undue criticism on them for things like this. Like, it's late. You're late building the community center. Well, when was it supposed to be built?
Yeah.
And I think it would be awesome if they said, okay, when we hit house 600 or 700, like you're saying, milestones, that would give the residents something to think about. It would give the residents a target. It's like, okay, we're about a year and a half away, and then they said they're going to do it, and then you could get upset. You're like, hey, you said house 700, now we're at 750.
To some extent, I think Boise Hunter, they have been clear. They have not given us a timeline at all, so they're not late.
Right.
But I think they need to, because now people are just getting upset. So I think one last one, I'll read the full comment. There's a little bit longer one, but I think it's going to hit a couple things.
God bless it.
Thank you, this person. Generally, the community lacks vision in terms of the needs of the people versus the desires of the master developer to turn a profit. The community needs recreation for its members, such as parks, permanent sports fields, pools, and places where kids and adults can recreate. The vision of this somehow being an equine community is absurd. Efforts towards that goal, the stables without walls, pastures of dirt without grass, horse walkways instead of sidewalks, are preposterous. Having grown up on a horse farm myself, it's a laughable attempt to create and focus on an equine community where one doesn't and shouldn't exist when the primary constituents are non-horse owners. Rather, efforts should be centered on what the community needs, recreation for the other 99.9% of the populace. Additionally, the community master developer exerts full control over the community with little concern over its members. As case in point, it threatens to sue community members, one of which that apparently started a website that was less than flattering about BHH.
I saw that site.
Obfuscates the use of dues and fees and penalizes objectors or complainers in any way possible. It just feels like the community should govern itself, except to the extent of the developer's needs strictly related to the continued construction. From forcing members to sign gag and non-disparagement contracts at closing, to undelivered promises, to questionable billing practices, there are ample areas for improvement of the community and its governments that could use but will likely never be solved.
Wow.
Yep.
Okay, first thing. You said equine and then you said equine. Which is it? Which is it in your mind, Ross?
Equine.
There we go.
There we
Good
go.
job, buddy. He said equine. I'm like, I can't interrupt him. All right. So here, that website, I do remember seeing the website, and I did hear about the cease and desist that came pretty soon thereafter.
Did you have to sign the gag order at close, or was that?
I refused.
They still issued that when I was closing. I refused. It's pretty crazy.
Right.
Which also I would say a little bit of a conflict of interest if you have people sign a gag order and then you're supposed to fill out a survey. Like this survey,
Right.
You shouldn't be able to answer.
Well, the thing that we did have to sign was that we couldn't try to obstruct their ability to finish the community.
Yeah.
Which I think is totally fair.
Makes sense.
Where it's like you build a utility that's supposed and the cost of that's supposed to be distributed over 1,800 homes. And if the first 500 homes move in and stop you from building, it's like you can't distribute the cost of the infrastructure across the full build, right?
Yep.
So I get that. But the whole like, you can't say anything bad about us. I like it here. I like it here a lot. As
There's
we're
things to
hearing,
improve.
there are things to improve.
Yeah, that's not. That would be fine if I was running the community also.
Right. But like my dad moved here. I love it here. And I think my dad's going to be very happy here. And if I was in Oakland recently going into Home Depot and I saw a friend of mine from college. He was randomly going to Home Depot too. I was like, Marco, what are you doing here? He and his wife is this avid triathlete. I was an athlete with Marco in college. He's an athlete as well. They came up to Boise a couple years back to do a triathlon. He was like, what is this place? It's beautiful. It's clean. There's not a lot of traffic. It seems like people are happy here. And of course, he's living in the Oakland area. It's just trash, right? Like he hates it. And I was telling him, like, dude, Dry Creek Ranch is it. I love this place. You would love it. Come up for a weekend. Come check it out. I love it here. But again, it doesn't mean it's perfect.
Right.
Right.
Which I wouldn't expect it to be perfect. Two more questions, or maybe just two more things. So the very last question was, has living in Dry Creek Ranch met your expectations? And if not, why? So I went through this. I'm going to pull up my other sheet real fast. And I also just went and compared to the 2020 results, which I think is something that this process that Ada County staff should be reviewing. So in the 2020 survey, again, only 42 people replied. But of that survey for this question, 26 people said yes, 9 no's, and 2 undecideds. So that's 70% were positive and said, yes, this living in the community has met my expectations.
That's good.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of them that say, yes, so far, we'll see how it goes.
Oh,
yes,
of course we'll see how it goes.
Yep, for the most part, blah, 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 blah. I counted all those as yes. The current survey on this one.
And that was 2020.
2020. So now 2023, which I think is something that if I were Ada County staff making this report to Planning and Zoning, making the presentation to County Board of Commissioners, or Ada County, Board of Commissioners, you got to look at the comparison from 2020 to now. This same question, I'll caveat it that if the answer was nothing but a complaint, then I count it as a no. This year, 69% of people say no.
Oh my God.
Has living in Dry Creek Ranch met your expectations? So we flipped it from 70% positive to 69% negative in 3 years. So, I will say the positive of community outreach and this survey is that this is going to go in front of the community, again, the Planning and Zoning and the County Board of Commissioners. If everybody complains that we want more amenities, I think it's going to have a voice this time. And anything else that we think is positive, it'll be interesting how this final report goes. So I think it's September 14th. Ada County staff is going to present it to the Ada County Planning and Zoning Board, and Planning and Zoning Board will take all of the data, put together their own report, and then sometime in October, they present that to the Ada County Board of Commissioners. We'll see. So I was talking to Connor Lindstrom. He works with he's the guy that sent out the survey. He's Ada County Development Services. He basically said the last periodic review that took place in 2020 did show the residents had some concerns, but the board was able to let Boise Hunter homes continue with the development as is. This time, though, there is definitely more public unrest about the development taking place. We'll have to wait and see what unfolds. You're welcome to attend the hearing in September and provide testimony. So I think that survey email that came out with these survey results, there is a Zoom link. You can present testimony via Zoom, or you can go in person to the Ada County Courthouse.
Oh, man. So we can go and like raise our hand and say, I have something to say.
Yep. And Boise Hunter will also be there giving their update on the development, all the progress they've made, which since 2020 is quite a bit. There's a lot of stuff that's happened. So.
Right. How many people were here in 2020?
Well, 42 answered the survey. So
right.
I think maybe 100 homes.
Right.
Something like that.
Man, that's wild. That's unfortunate that so many people feel that their expectations have not been met. And I'm not, it's not like I'm ignorant to the issues. Like, another community center would be awesome, right? Like better trails would be awesome. Yep.
I think just a couple of those, verbalizing it. The master developer, Boise Hunter Homes, has fallen short on meeting deadlines for amenities and signalized intersections. Additionally, the home builder, Boise Hunter, has provided poor customer service and has not delivered on many promises on completing the construction of our home. So there's things to improve, which is everybody knows. There's a bunch of yeses. Yes, someone said they were just mad at the city of Eagle for excluding kids from the sports teams.
Oh yeah, the soccer in particular. Yeah.
So some of that
was it soccer or softball?
Skyhawks. I don't know what. Yeah. I thought there would be more community events and more amenities. It has not. I would recommend BHH spend a lot on quality of life amenities and do it fast. So that's the overall process. Again, I think there's a lot of. We didn't get to some of the kind of the fun feedback. Sorry, it took too long on the suggestions, but I really liked the fish pond. I really liked the paddleboarding pond suggestions.
Just fill up that drainage ditch where the volleyball court is.
You could make a fish pond there.
That'd
probably
be
pretty easy. Yeah,
that'd be great.
There's some other funny stuff. I think pickleball courts. So actually, again, in this master planned map, the recreation plan, there's a lot of stuff coming in, kind of over by the recreation area where there was supposed to be like soccer fields, another community center, a pool right next to the brewery. I think like everybody's into pickleball now, making some adult playground sort of stuff would be fun. Right. So there's options, and I'm sure Boise Hunter will address it because it seems like the voice is getting heard, which is the process. So, but again, it is unfortunate that many people are displeased, and I already said it, but I get that people want more amenities, and that makes sense. But I mean, I don't know. Maybe responding that way is the only way to actually get that stuff. Yeah. Right in a faster time frame. Yeah. Squeaky wheel gets the oil sort of thing. So I think it's grease. Squeaky wheel gets the grease. You don't put oil on a wheel? It's the grease. Oh man, it's the grease. It's all right. God bless you, sir. Great. Yeah. Yeah. Well, again, I like it here. Yep. And I hope the next survey, is it every 2 years? So theoretically, it's going to be 2025. Yep. Theoretically, 2025. Well, I hope more people are happy in 2025. Yeah. I think. Yeah. I think they will be. That's my prediction. You know what I hope for? Really? I hope that we don't have any golf cart accidents in between now and 2025. Yeah. I'm not calling out anyone. I'm not chastising anyone. The number of kids I see hanging off a golf cart. But my wife saw today, she was talking to a friend outside, and they saw a golf cart drive by with a kid drinking a bottle sitting on the back seat of the golf cart, not strapped in, like leaning over the side, waving at him with a bottle in his hand. And she was like, oh my God, that kid's going to fall out. Like, and I don't think anything major has happened yet, but that is like a really scary thing for me. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. I've seen the golf carts. I haven't seen as many of the little like Mario Kart cars. There was a while there where some kids were going hardcore on those, which looks super fun. As a 12-year-old, I would have been all over that. Yeah, the motorized stuff around here is off the hook. Yeah. You know, like
it's almost like people can't just have normal bikes. It's like everybody's got to motorize something. Yeah. Do you see those motorized scoot bikes? The little kids have them. So instead of like kicking with their feet like my kids had, they just
there's a couple of those at the pool the other day.
Yeah, dude, they're awesome. Or like the motorized scooters are the things that actually scare me the most, because you get going on a scooter and the wheel's so small and it can fishtail, like whoa.
Yeah. I know with our daughter, that's helmets are mandatory on everything, because I think the scooter she thinks doesn't have to have a helmet, because it's like, oh, I'm almost standing up, but you're almost taller. And the wheel turns and head crack on the side.
My 6-year-old, we're really insistent on helmets too. Yeah. I'm a bit of a worrier. I don't want my kids to get hurt, and stuff happens too fast. But he comes in the garage. We're putting on our shoes in the garage, and he always like tries to jump on the, we have these little scooters, and sure as hell, we're like, get off the scooter, and he like turns around and just whoosh, on his ass, and cracks his head. It's like, oh my God, man! Like this is, I don't know. I worry about the kids in the neighborhood. They just go so hard.
Well, I have heard good things about the St. Alphonsus Urgent Care in downtown Eagle.
That's great.
I've got a friend that's an ER doc, and he says if of all the hospitals in the Treasure Valley, if he was hurt, that's the one he would go to. So
St. Alphonse.
Yep.
Hooking it up.
All right.
Yeah, so if there's a golf thing, that's it.
Yep.
Anyway, thank you, Ross. I appreciate you.
Yep.
Thanks for going all this stuff.
Thank you. Yeah, no problem.
Hopefully people like it more in 2 years.
Okay.
All right. Thanks, everybody.